we're going to get help here from a professional comedian who I'm imagining is feeling a little broken, not just because the road is hard and the grind is hard and he's probably been in 50 hotel rooms in 39 nights, but also because his Knicks aren't quite as lovable as they used to be. And I don't know if you guys saw over the weekend, they lose to the Warriors. The Warriors are now 14-1 with Jimmy Butler. After the game, Karl Anthony Towns had been, punked by Draymond Green, who said that he hadn't played in the previous game against Jimmy Butler because he was afraid of him. He apologized for it because Karl Anthony Towns was attending a friend's funeral. And then what happens after the game, after the Knicks lose, is a bunch of Knicks are dapping up Draymond Green. And now Knicks Nation is hurting because this team is more talented than the team of the last 2 years, but it's not quite as lovable. And it's not quite as underdog either, even though I've gone from thinking they could win the championship to thinking they can't and they won't. So Sam Morril is our senior Knicks correspondent that no one asked for. He's currently on the stand-up tour, the Errors Tour. He's got stops all over the place, U.S. and Canada through May, Columbus, Grand Rapids, Milwaukee, Madison, Des Moines, Kansas City. Go to sammorril.com for dates and tickets. Where are you now? Are you hurting from the night before? Is the road beating you down, or is it the Knicks?
A little bit of both. I've done like 25 cities in the last month and a half or so. So I'm feeling it, but yeah, that game pissed me off, man. I was a 90s Knicks fan. That's what I grew up with. So that never would have happened with Mason Oak on the team, John Starks. That was a different type of vibe. I think the AAU ball has kind of changed how these guys are, but yeah, I thought Draymond bothers me. And you said he apologized. He didn't apologize. He gave a Draymond apology. He bothers me. The podcast he has bothers me because he brought in Baron Davis to make himself more likable. He's not likable. He's terrible at broadcasting. He lacks charisma. The way Shaq and Barkley ball bust, Draymond can't. He's not able to do that. He's like the kid who thinks he can ball bust, but then says like, "Your mom has cancer," and you're like, "That's not a joke. That she actually does have cancer." That's like his sense of humor. He sucks, and You think a guy like this, like, is he a Hall of Famer? Of course, he's a great player. He's a great defender. He's mentally ill. If he was a football player, he'd be Antonio Brown by now. He's unhinged. He has like the ego of like, it's like if Ringo Starr was the biggest dick in the Beatles, you know? Like, it's weird that Paul, George, and John are nice, and then Ringo's a dick.
I don't think you can just accuse him of being mentally ill. I think that's a bit irresponsible.
Okay, he's got all his marbles. You think he's not mentally ill?
I don't know. I don't know that. I'm not comfortable just saying that about somebody. Yeah. Certainly, the resume has a lot of behavior that's unstable on it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just upset that Rudy Gobert, it's not Rudy Gobert's fault. He keeps winning Defensive Player of the Years, and he just like puts him in a sleeper hold. That's not the behavior of someone who's got it all together. It bothered me that the Knicks dapped him up. I think if Jalen Brunson was there, it would have been a different vibe. I didn't like that.
Well, where are you right now emotionally with the Knicks? You don't like them as much as you've liked the team of the last 2 years, right?
It's tough, man. I like the identity last year a little more of just it's hard to root for a team that doesn't play defense as well. Yeah, I miss Dante and Hardenstein and Randall for sure. I mean, Randall would do stuff that would make me crazy, but you couldn't question his toughness, and I respected that. So now you're questioning this team's toughness.
Sam, I have to speak out. There's been something that someone said in like a game of telephone that has swept
not right. What
the
you're
entire
about to
production
do is
studio.
Not right. This is not good.
So I just can't unsee it now. Some people have pointed out that your mustache presently looks like the Batman logo. And I gotta say,
it's so good.
So bad
it is so good.
It is so dead on. I don't understand. How did you do this on purpose? How do you have the Batman logo on your face?
I don't know, man. I've not heard this, but this is I'm looking at my face and yeah, I can kind of see it.
Sam, are you okay with us going straight up to your mouth here and just staying here as you give us your commentary with the Batman logo under your nose and above your top lip?
Yeah, as long as you're not doing this to interns in meetings, I guess this is okay.
We're comedians operating in the margins, Sam.
Yeah.
Can someone please, who maybe is watching, Photoshop this into the little spotlight into the sky in Gotham for me? And please tweet it at me. Thank you.
So, Sam, you understand, and this part has to be hard for you as somebody who loves and cares about the Knicks the way you do.
Yeah.
Scrappy underdog, gets very loud, lovable team. Everybody was go New York, go, because it felt scrappy and Jalen Brunson was nice as an underdog. You change everybody out, you bring this team in, it's less liked, and now Knicks fans have been very loud on behalf of their team, and now they've got one that's less likable than the previous incarnations. And a loud fan base goes from hopeful to what? Like, are you sitting here saying, well, now that Mitchell Robinson is back, we can get past Cleveland and Boston?
Well, Boston's tough, man. I mean, they just don't. Al Horford is like the ageless wonder. He's 38 and he just seems like he could still guard anyone. It's crazy. And he hits the open threes. They just don't miss Boston. So they're tough, man. And Derek White is like that X factor who just, I mean, they have a ton of great players, but he just seems to be that guy who always hits the big three. And Cleveland got better. So yeah, right as of now, no, I don't think we could beat them. But I do think we are in a place where we have more talent. I just think they have to make moves to make the team fit better. You know, like the team doesn't seem like it really fits right now. But also they haven't really had a lot of time to play with Mitch, Jalen, like the whole team healthy. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Sam, I don't like this. I don't like hearing you. Well, you just don't. You're lacking enthusiasm for your basketball team. You already sound broken. Like for 2 years, you've been like, no, here we come. I'm hopeful. And now you sound like a different human being as our Knicks correspondent.
Are you taking solace in what's happening with Philadelphia? What's happening with Miami? Are you riding some vibes because they're down bad?
I'll tell you what hurts me about Philadelphia is that they got my guy Quentin Grimes, and he's fucking balling. That guy can play, and we knew he could play in New York, and that's a guy we could use right now. A little energy and three ball off the bench, good defender. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't like Philly. It's fun to see them fall apart, but I mean, look, a core of Embiid and Paul George, that contract's like as bad as it gets. So that I do take some solace in them falling apart. But I don't think we're screwed. I think we have a good nucleus still, and I think Brunson is still that good that you could still build around him. But yeah, you need to get back to that defensive identity. That's what made us good last year, is that we beat you up. So I don't feel like we're a team that teams are scared of like they were last year. Last year they were like, fuck, we got to play the Knicks. Like it was that type of thing where you knew they were going to be physical.
Sam, you're basically acknowledging that the team's not good enough, which is not an acknowledgement you've made the last couple of years. You were hopeful at every turn that you could get past even Boston. You were not at that point afraid in any way of Boston.
I never said they're not good enough. I said we don't look good enough right now. I mean, look, if we get healthy, yeah, maybe we could figure something out. I love Deuce off the bench. I love a lot of the guys we have on the team. I mean, OG is looking great right now. Bridges hit that big shot the other. We have the talent. It's just not coming together right now. But we definitely have the talent.
What did you make of Josh Hart and Tom Thibodeau mixing it up? And also, how do we stop the Riddler from poisoning Gotham's water supply?
Yeah. I can help you with the Rizzler, but I don't know much about the Riddler. But what was the first question again? Sorry.
Josh Hart and Thibodeau. I can understand how that
the clash of Hart and Thibodeau. They're arguing on the sideline.
I don't care about that. That's like they're two intense guys. It's like, they're gonna be fine. It's like when a toxic couple gets together and they scream at each other in public, but then they go home and have hot sex. That's Josh and Tibbs.
Yeah, but then that couple usually breaks up and it's very messy.
Yeah, but that's what always happens. Like Josh's next 5 years are gonna be rough. We know how it is. Like it didn't end well for Noah or Dang. Tibbs has his guys he loves, and they give everything. And Josh will be a favorite Knick forever. But I don't know how many years Josh can do this. I mean, he's playing 46 minutes a night, and doing everything. It's not like a 46 minutes where he's just like camping out in the corner. He's like the Energizer Bunny the whole night. So I get why he's angry every once in a while. He's doing a lot. And it came out, Bridges was like, what the fuck with all these minutes? And then he's like, no, we're fine. But they're still playing this many minutes. So I don't know.
What are your thoughts on Kendrick Perkins saying that if it were his locker room, he would have smoke with Josh Brunson and Hart? I'm sorry, Brunson and Hart for having their podcast together.
If it was Kendrick Perkins' locker room, he'd have smoked brisket in there because he's fat.
Nothing wrong with that.
He's a fat. It wouldn't be if it was his locker room. I mean, this is a guy that, like, I feel like all his I like Kendrick Perkins, he's fine, but like, I feel like all his former teammates are like, shut up, The podcast, yeah, like, look, any podcast you do when it's not going as well, you're gonna get shit for, right? I mean, I remember like Duncan Robinson's a buddy of mine. He stopped doing his podcast when he was on the bench because he's like, why am I podcasting if I'm getting benched? Makes sense, right? So when things aren't harmonious, it's weird, but at the same time, they have a self-awareness. I heard them on their podcast talking about how they're not beating the good teams, and it's like it's actually nice to hear that they hear the Knicks fans, and there is a weird connection that Josh and Jalen have to like Knicks Twitter and the city. So I have no issue with it. It's not like they're not practicing and working hard. Those two are the guys I'm not concerned about.
When you're analyzing the specifics of the changes in the team, because you fell in love with Hartenstein as well, Are you mad at Bridges? Are you mad at Karl Anthony Towns? Like, how does this work in terms of where it is that your emotion is spent? Understanding that you're positive about the team and you don't want to be somebody who's negative, but you blame somebody here for this feeling less good to you, don't you?
Yeah, it's hard to blame the guys who come in. I mean, I think Bridges and Towns are good players. Towns sometimes makes me crazy on defense. I don't always feel like he's playing defense, and that's frustrating because he is a talent. Right now, he looks like he's absolutely injured. So it's hard to get as mad at him right now. But yeah, there have been periods where you're like, it is weird that we have to sit Towns and Brunson on every last play defensively. I get it because Mitch and Deuce are great defenders, but it's weird. You don't usually see that, right? And I think Bridges took a lot of the blame out of the gate because Towns was shooting the lights out, and Towns' first half was incredible. But, we don't care who does that stuff in the regular season. I want to see you do that in the playoffs, and I want to see you hoop it in the playoffs. So, yeah, Towns, when he's zesty and we're winning, it's funny. And then when he's zesty and we're losing, we're like, this fucking pussy. Why is he so zesty,
What are you enjoying the most these days creatively? I don't know if sharpening up the tour or your podcast or your script writing is where you're pouring your energies, but what's inspiring you these days?
A lot of Knicks. I'm on the road like crazy. So we've been on a tour bus, and we were on a tour bus for like 20 cities. I almost died before we got the tour bus because we were in a Sprinter van at like 3 a.m. and our driver fell asleep at the wheel. And that inspired me to get a tour bus. So, yeah, I don't want to die. I was watching that movie, The Substance, and I didn't like it, and it kept me awake. And that's how it saved our life because I was like, wake up, because I was awake.
It seems like you're grinding at a way that's a bit unreasonable. Do your loved ones tell you to slow it down?
No, not really. This is how I am, I guess.
Broken?
I saw someone drew a big old dick on that tour bus, so congrats.
Someone drew a big dick. That was in, I think, Buffalo. The Buffalo people, man.
The scarecrow.
I know. I will say it is.
Ra's al Ghul, damn you.
I mean, yeah, I like Buffalo people. I went on Tinder there once, and all the women looked like Artie Lang. It was pretty intense, but still fucked one of them. But still,
That's my guy. Wait, no, I want to kill you.
You are going to do something different with the mustache? Do you think self-consciously, or do you think you're going to just keep going and ride it into the sky?
no. I'll ride it through the sky. I'll ride I mean, there's worse things that could look like than a bat signal. I mean, I'll take that. You know, it's kind
No
of
doubt.
Well, I think you should darken it to accentuate it even more, because we have
could.
spent the entire conversation giggling or smiling because all of the words are being belched out from the undercarriage of the bat signal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm all right with it. I'm gonna keep things as is, I think.
All right, Sam, you sound a bit defeated by the Knicks. I don't like to hear you this way.
I'm still positive they have the talent, but I think, yeah, I think you need Brunson back. He's the engine, man. He's everything. So hopefully he comes back healthy. That Lakers game was tough. I thought we'd get him, and then it turns into like, not only do we lose, but Jalen goes down. That was one where I was like, fuck, I forgot what city we were in, but it was like not a good, it was a finish the bottle of wine type of night where we're like, fuck this.
How do you celebrate, or how did you celebrate Stephen A's big contract with ESPN?
I was so happy for him. I think he's been such a wonderful guy for years and doing it the right way. So it's nice. Hopefully he's our next president too. He seems really level-headed. We'll make Draymond VP.
Good seeing you, Sam. Thank you. Again, a reminder, the Errors Tour, upcoming dates, Columbus, Grand Rapids, Milwaukee, Madison, Des Moines, and Kansas City. His is the bus with the penis drawn on the side. Thank you, sir.